Okay, today is a very special day. I am going to be reading, maybe skipping a few lines from a book called Stones to Abbigale. It was made by a person who goes by the name of Onision. I think it's called Onision. I think his real name is Greg or Daniel. I don't know. I know very little of this person. All I know is that no one likes him. I'm going to be ignoring all the comments that I've heard. I've heard that people say the main character is just a self-insert of it. I'm going to be ignoring that because I don't believe anybody. I I heard this book was really terrible, but I've also know that a lot of people are stupid and they over dramatize everything. This toilet is representation of this book if it's bad. I have the PDF file. I have not gotten the book itself, and my friend Naomi says it's the complete version, and she tells me to prepare myself. So because of this, I don't want to get copyright too much, or I want to say copyright too much. I don't know if that makes any sense, but you're gonna be seeing this black screen. Maybe I'll do this so you have a bunch of things to look at. With that being said, it's been 2 minutes. Let me stop talking, and let me load up the books. Now, I'll tell you how I'm reading this. This is the title. Oh crap! Give me a second. There we go. And here, I found the PDF file. Naomi sent me it. It's 90 pages long. Okay. Stones to Abbigale by, is that an M or an N? Onision. It's a chapter one. There's already chapter one. Stones to Abbigale. I mean, from time to time, if I see something like worth making a note of, well, not really noteworthy, but like I notice it. I may show you like a few lines from here and there, but I'm not gonna like show you every single line. And I don't think I'm gonna be reading the whole book. I'm gonna be reading like parts and parts of it. And without further ado, 3 minutes. Let me get into it. Stone to Abigail by Onision. Hello there, Peanut. Let me read you this story that Naomi sent me. You're watching on the phone. There's gonna be a delay. Okay, let me zoom in. Chapter 1. I was asleep until I met her. When I finally woke up, I learned the meaning of perfect imperfection. Wait, what? Oh, okay. Well, I already found something I don't like about this book. Already. Okay. So, let's talk about this first line. So, delay, it's like a 20-second delay. Okay, so first things first, the book starts off as someone waking up. Well, not, you know, it's like a metaphor of waking up. This is a sounds sus. What sounds sus? Is my microphone okay? Let me repeat the first line. Now, usually your first sentence should hook the reader. It should like it should like bring the characters like interested in the story. An example of this in my story is my first line in my story is they called her Trinity. And it's not a question, it's just the first line and it's by itself. A paragraph doesn't have to be like 30 sentences long. Some paragraphs can only be one sentence long. Some paragraph can is just only like 2 words. It's okay. It all depends on how you write. Some people like to write that way. Now, my goal was to get you in question. It's everything's a cliffhanger in like my sentences. Like they called her Trinity. Okay, who is they? Who is Trinity? Why do they call her that? Like what's so special about that? Trinity, what the hell? What is going on? That's kind of stupid. Let me read more. Whether I did a successful job on making the readers interested in my book on the first line, that's up for debate. This book Um, I was asleep until I met her, comma, when I finally woke, I learned the meaning of perfect imperfection. Now, here's the thing. Look, I don't want to bash on this, but this right here is is not good. I hate this. Perfect imperfection. What you should do actually is, well, probably write a better first sentence, but it's not the worst thing. Have this all word. You want whole words. You don't want it to be cut off. I already see another one right here, but that's for later. Like the Matrix. Do you see the last Matrix movie? Um, yes, my character is named. She's not named after the girl from the Matrix. She's a set of three twins, and she's the youngest one. That's why the main character, Piercy, he calls her Trinity. Other one's called. I'm not gonna. Did I see the last Matrix movie? I heard it was very disappointing, and no, I have not seen it. Okay, I was. I've always been the type of person to focus on stars as we spin beneath them. The cool breeze on a sunny day, scattered patches of grass under my feet, the world around me, often, well, there's a lot of commas, often forgetting to even glance at the one within. I had reminded, oh, sorry, no, I had reminded, I had remained, I had remained emotionally unexplored for so much of my life. That's, I understand where he's going with this. It is painful to know some can go an entire life without understanding their own heart, an eternal lock waiting for the right key to change everything. The movie was disappointing. I thought so. I assume it was. Um, okay, nothing too bad in like the first paragraph. Are the first paragraphs done? All right. It was the first Monday morning of November. I opened my, I opened my eyes. Oh man, this is stupid. I opened my eyes, blinded by my recently painted wall-to-wall white room. Okay. Even my bed frame, constructed of purely metal, was painted white. You know, I get it. He's trying to set the mood for everything. I think he could have done a better job at this, but like there's something here. It bounced off the walls, causing my eyelids to desperately clamp together. It bounced off the walls. Okay. Painting my room like this was a clear act of subtle self-inflicted psychological torture. I was going through another phase, from darkness to light, and repeat. Seemed like the story of my life. Oh God, this is so nihilistic. My mom, okay, first things first, in my stories, I only say my mom or mom whenever someone's speaking or whenever it's someone directly speaking. I always say mother because I like to write in third person. So him saying mom right here is okay. A second thing, second, one of the nasty habits that I do in my writing is repeat the same like word, repeat the same words from the next paragraph. It's not that big of a deal, but I hate doing it. My mom, and then the next paragraph also starts with my mom. This is a nasty habit that I have in my writing, and I don't think it's a big deal, but it pisses me off when I do it. So I'm not gonna give him shit for it. My mom could. I don't know why I'm reviewing this book. I should just be reading it. My mom could see the darker colors that were depressing me. I felt comforted by them, but found there were good aspects to both extremes. I was happy to visit either side. They are both so simple, but right now the intense light bouncing from wall to wall felt like it was ripping my mind into two. Oh, in two. Okay, I guess. I mean, I don't see. Where are you going with this? Let me just continue reading. Naomi says hello, Peanut. The movie was disappointing. Yeah, she says she didn't like The Matrix. My mom didn't wake me. My alarm. Okay. My mom didn't wake me. My alarm clock sat on my dresser with no explanation for its failure to function. The clock only illuminated a blank stare with 8:17 written all over its face. Ah, this is called dragging, in my opinion. My alarm sat on my dresser with no explanation for its failure to function. You could just, you can just say, I don't know. I mean, you're writing in first person, so you can just say, I don't know why my alarm clock didn't go off. It was 8:17. Or, there you go. Like, say, I don't know why my alarm clock didn't work. Did I fail to plug it in? I'm not one to forget. Like this is a missed opportunity of character building. But I guess he just wants to get the day over with. It's called Stones to Abigail. I have not read Stones to I have not read this book. The clock only. Oh, I already said this one already. Phase. While entirely robotic, I imagined the clock to have the dumbest possible expression. One what the fuck am I reading? While entirely robotic, I imagined the clock to have the dumbest possible expression, one complementing its failure to behave any way outside its random glitch infested nature. This what? I don't think he's trying to be funny, but this just makes the character look like a loser. I have no real friends. I have to use the clock. And the reflection of its plastic face, I could see myself unconsciously making the dumb expression I was imagining the clock to have. I laughed in my casually dorky tone and began to get ready to leave home. Casually, uh, there's. I mean, it's not terrible right now. This book is not terrible right now. It's the first page, but there are some like red flags. Without breakfast, I left for without breakfast, I left for school with a bogus note in hand to idealistically explain my tardiness. I think most of my teachers were too exhausted to worry about small variances in our appearance from time to time. With how low their pay likely was, I imagined there were very few rules cared most teachers cared about. All right, so his school sucks, and he's smart enough to notice. All right, cool. It was another cold day in Lakewood. This reminds me of another good book called Holes. There was no lake in Camp Green Lake. You could have started off the book with this sentence. It was another cold day in Lakewood. And what was his first sentence? I was asleep until I met her when I okay, asleep when I met her. Who's her? Well, you could have done. Oh, I'm going too fast. It was another cold day in Lakewood. You could have like explained the setting with this. If I was writing this book, this is actually like a really good starting sentence. It was another cold day in Lakewood. Um, explain like how it was cold and it's not hot or some other crap like that. But when you met her, it felt warm. Like, you get the idea? It's still like, like, it's so emo, but it's not the worst thing. That's what I would have started off with. But I have no idea what this book is. The wind hit my eyes, forcing tears to form in the corner as I sped along the sidewalk at a no doubt unreasonable speed. I passed Lauren and Raymond walking the opposite direction, no doubt headed towards a nearby church where all the students go to smoke, make out, and hide out until school ends. Oh, it's the cool place. Only cool people go to the church. Is this character a loser? And when he meets Abigail, she's so cool, and she makes him cool, and then he becomes a douchebag. This is School Days. School Days is such a terrible anime. I love it though. I love School Days. What a terrible anime. I love it. They seemed who's Raymond and Lauren though? Not a good introduction. They seemed so childish as they held hands and smiled excitedly as if they had gotten away with some tremendous crime. Mr. Hanson, what the f- Mr. Hanson, my heavy set? I don't know, alright, fine. Heavy set, middle-aged history teacher rolled his eyes as I walked into class. James, talk to me after class. I just realized something. I don't know the name of this character. I had to learn it from this teacher. That's bad writing. That's really bad writing. I didn't even notice that. What the hell? James. I mean, at least he mentioned the name, so that I'll give it to. James, talk to me after class, he said quickly. Okay, first of all, not only is this the first time you mentioned the kid's name, but whenever you do quotations, I already see another one like right here. This becomes a mess. There's no like the way this book is written out, it looks like a bunch of blocky text. This is unattractive. Now, I'm not the best writer, but let me load up my story. I'm going to load up my story. Now, my story is not like the best either, okay? But here's a paragraph with a bunch of like speaking. And it's not the best paragraph. It's terrible. I'm going to rewrite this. I have notes on the side and some shit like that. But look, whenever I do quotations, I manage to break it up because it's easier on the eyes. I was planning on making it like each each one like that, but I think that's a bit too much because in my book I tend to do a lot of quotations. I don't like doing it, but sometimes I have to do it. Even like right here, look, there's no, oh look, simple yes or no. I don't even know if that's even correct. Yes or no. Mm, Please need. I don't even know if they need quotation. But whenever there's talking, I always do that. I don't think it's like a rule to do that, but I think it makes it easy for the person to read. Okay, James, talk to me after class, he said quickly, looking away from me as if I were an undervalued employee who was barely important to make enough eye contact with alone. This is a big sentence. He's not talking to you as an undervalued employee. He's talking to you as an undervalued as an undervalued student. All right, whatever. I mean, a terrible comparison. I have a note, I said. He ignored me and continued his lecture on yet another topic that would not only be completely useless later in this life, but wasn't even relevant for even a few seconds after the words. I actually like that sentence. Let me read the sentence because that's very relatable. All right. I think the sentence is too long though. The sentence is too long, but it's very relatable. He, I have a note, but he ignored me as he continued his lecture on yet another topic that would not only be completely useless later in life, but wasn't even relevant for a few seconds. You could just say he ignored me and continued his. This since you're writing in first person, you can kind of like cheat the system. You could say he ignored me and continued on his lecture, which I find bullshit. You can say that. If I was writing that, I would say that. You can look. I made this sentence into like three words. He ignored me and continued his lecture, which I find bullshit. There you go. All this other crap, you don't. I just saved you like a lot of whatever. I'm not the best writer, Naomi. I'm not, but I'm being harsh. I should not be. I don't know. There was only 15 minutes left in class, but I felt it would be more stimulating to integrate myself into the room and yet another again study my classmates. Oh, okay, he wants to study his classmates' behavior that to sit in a hall watching the. So he's just in class. He likes to watch other people and like looking at them like he was at zoo. Oh, look, yeah, he's watching them like as if they were animals at zoos. Wow, okay, he read my mind. All right, so not bad. For as long as I can remember, oh, sorry, for as long as I remembered, I've enjoyed seeing how people move around and talk to each other like they're all animals at the zoo. This guy is an asshole. I would try to deliver a more accurate analogy if I felt there was one, but so many of them seem incredibly unaware of themselves, just living life as if there was some generic, predefined routine. Sometimes I feel like an alien who had a VIP pass to submerge myself in. This guy's an asshole. You know, I get what he's trying to say. People like no one is unique. Everyone's just the same. That I mean, I understand what he's going with, but man, you gotta the way he words it, he's not like he's only going like one one path. It makes him look like an asshole. He has to give himself some like negatives because right now all I've been hearing is I'm great. That's all I've been reading actually. I sense everything I can take in around me. I gotta stop like critiquing it. Let me just continue reading. The seemingly limitless audible tones, tremors in the voices of growing children rang in my ears. What the fuck? In studying people, I found myself gradually learning to literally feel the various personality types I encountered. I hyper-analyzed every inconsistent smell, the seemingly random clothing style, freckles, and assorted. What the hell am I reading? Trying to analyze and understand what sequence of events led to decide on who they came to be. What the hell is this? When does Abigail comes? When does she get stones? I don't think Peanut is here. He probably is here, but he's on his phone, so there's like a 20-second delay. I took a favor of categorizing most everyone around me: the socially inept know-it-all, the dumb attention-seeking drama kid, and the bleach blonde bimbo who gets overly defensive at the slightest hint of criticism. Hmm. Then there were kids who just hoped no one noticed them at all. There was so much to be seen, to be considered and organized in my mind. Class had just ended, so I walked over to Mr. Hansen's desk and placed a tardy note in passing. As I walked out with the rest of my class, he called me after. James, we need to talk. Why don't you have a seat over here? You're listening? I hope you're liking this book, because, I mean, I'm enjoying it so far. I responded but continued to walk out the Well, I responded but continued to walk out the room. I have to be early to my next class. Let's talk tomorrow. What? You can't just do that to your teacher. I mean, what? You can't just do that. Oh man, this guy's James is a badass. I walked quickly down the hall. I walked quickly down the hall. You could just say I quickly, or yeah, I quickly walked down. I'm gonna correct the sentence. I quickly walked down the hall towards my art class, which was awkwardly placed in a trailer outside my clearly poor-funded high school. What the fudge is this? His class is in a trailer? This is all right. I mean, that's unique. I'm not gonna lie. That's something I can remember. That's hey, that's pretty. I all right. It's so stupid though, but all right. On my way to the class, a fight had already broken out between two jocks who, no doubt, both had controlling iron-fisted fathers who brainwashed him into believing conflicts between men are resolved with the blooding of their fists. What the? Is this a real sentence? Look at this. Look. On my way to the class. I mean, this seems like well, the way it's written, it's probably just gonna be like a side note. But I mean, a fight? You can't really make a fight. Nothing really interesting is happening in this book. So a fight? That's pretty cool. First things first. One, the writing, not the writing, but the structure. I would say the writing too. The writing and structure is very sloppy. Second, he used jocks unironically. Jocks is supposed to be used ironically like almost every single time. And three, let's just read this again. On my way to the class, a fight had already broken out between two jocks who, no doubt, both had controlling, iron-fisted fathers. Wow. Yeah, they were abused, so that's why they're fighting. I mean, they could just be assholes. Oh my. These types of men plagued my mind with wonder. I could not convince a scenario. I cannot conceive a scenario in which they could justify their primitive and pointless mentalities, yet they would always continue to perpetrate. So I can't read. Perpetuate. Oh my god, I can't read. Their self-destructive attitudes as if it offered the slightest legitimate benefit. Most everyone nearby crowded around the fight. None of them likely cared who was winning. What mattered what it was about or how far it went. Okay, so it's just people who are just instigating. You could just say that. All they seemed to show concern was their own amusement, always decided to see violence without having to pull out their wallets to pay for it. I kind of don't know how to feel about this sentence. As the sounds of flesh collided fisted cheeks and chest. Wait a minute, what is this? What is this? Why is this and like this? You can't no. All right. They would scream, "Ooh!" That's a line, by the way, as if it were sincerely delightful to witness creatures like themselves suffer and fall apart before their eyes. Creatures. They're humans, man. They're not. All right, whatever. They calls them creatures. All right. Good soup. I want good soup. Even if I had time to stop, I never really took pleasure in seeing strangers hurt each other. Most all fights seem avoidable and were often initiated for a sense of reason. I know, you could say it's more complicated than that. I would think it were as well, but reality trumps the way I wish things would be. There's no sense in fighting it when doing so rarely helps anyone. Mm. As I approached my next class, the image of Abby's face illuminated. Ooh, Abby. I didn't get any. I didn't get any introduction to Abby. You mean Abigail? All right, this is the first time. Well, this is actually the second time. Or I would say that. No, I would say this is the first time. Really, like as I approached my next class, the image of Abby's face illuminated the neon's wall of my mind like a projector teasing at a theater screen with fleeting moments of depth and purpose. Ever since I met her, she had. This is stuff that should be in the first page, but like this is kind of creepy. Ever since I met her, she had occupied a part of my conscience. Whenever I wasn't near her, I missed her to an unrealistic extent. Ooh, creepy. You could call my longing sad, especially. You could call my longing sad, especially considering we had barely talked. She she just had a strange effect on me. One no doubt similar to a willful addiction. There are people in life which we pass by on a daily basis, barely aware of their existence, but unexpectedly. Okay, blah 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 blah. This whole paragraph is just weird. So he likes her. I mean, this sounds like he likes her. Whatever. As I walked up the creaking stairs into my art class trailer, I could see Abby was sitting at her shared desk, alone, same makeup, hairstyle, and general appearance I had thought about repeatedly over the last couple days. Okay? Sounds like he's obsessed with her. She was drawing pictures on a blue lined paper, distracting herself from the cold that filled the oddly glowing room. I smiled slightly, trying not to be too obvious, and sat down on my chilled metal chair, positioned a few seats to the left of to the left in front of her. Dude, just talk to her. What do you mean? Glancing over, I could see she hadn't moved at all. I felt like she didn't even notice me come in. Well, obviously she was drawing. Stupid. I wanted to inspire some acknowledgement into my I wanted to inspire some acknowledgement of my existence from Abby, so I opened my mouth to greet her when I brushed up against. What the fuck? What the hell? I wanted to inspire some acknowledgement of my. You could just say I wanted Abigail to notice me. I wanted her to notice me. You could just say that. I wanted to inspire some acknowledgement to inspire some acknowledgement of my existence from Abby, so I opened my mouth to greet her when my fingers brushed up against freshly smeared gum under my desk. Ew! I shouted out on impulse. She looked up at me with a blank expression. Yeah, I would have done the same thing. This is the third page. This is the last of the third page. This book is so weird. Bursting into the room came a group of boys. Dude, I think John's done, bro. One of the other boys laughed, saying, "Won't see them for a week at least." This is what I assume they sound like. I looked back at Abigail to see she also didn't react to their outburst. Strangely, knowing that her apathy was generalized and impersonal gave me comfort. All right. Her influence on how I felt dangerous dangerous, but I didn't care, as no matter how fond I was of the idea that I was not of the world. I knew my place and had no real interest in pretending otherwise. Oh, I don't get that. Jason, one of the boys energetically praising the fight they had just seen, sat in his seat next to Abby. Oh man, is he gonna be jealous? I'm gonna beat this guy up. Yeah. I feel like this is what this character's gonna do. I smirked watching her shoulders shift away from him. Her body language sent a loud message that she had the same impression of Jason as I did. You're weird, man. He was just another moron, placed on this earth to live his life completely unexamined. A pawn that had no awareness of his own role, let alone that it was just another tiny component with a massive, unsolvable, twisted game. This writing is so like I understand what I understand what he's trying to say. Jason is he's just I don't I know what I can't really explain it, but the way he's writing it, it just makes James, the writer, it just makes him look like an asshole. I know it sounds morbid. Oh, okay, never mind. He, all right. At least he admits it. I know it sounds morbid and condescending, but my attitude was just something that naturally developed the more I studied human behavior. I would be more optimistic, but I find doing so would be walking into a room with no windows and turning down the lights. If you refuse to see the world around you for what it is, you're just wasting your eyes. That's just him trying to be cute. Stupid writing. Art class was about to begin. My teacher, Mrs. Stanley, who looked like she should have retired a ridiculous 30 years ago, approached the front room talking about how art is sacred. She also discussed the random object she had just that she had us all draw the previous school day and ironically graded it by using her own narrow-minded definition of art. I always wondered how teachers I always wondered how teachers could even attempt objectively grading art. Is there any logic behind validating a form of self-expression using a cold black and white mathematical system? Well, yes, actually there is. There are some techniques that are like very vital in drawing, very simple ones, and they're not really opinionated. Like there's techniques. There's so many techniques in art. You have to know like there's infinite of them. You have to know not all of them because that's impossible, but you have to know like the basics of it. Like to draw like a perfect circle, what we would do usually is make a plus sign, then make like a an X sign, and then fill up the gaps of it, just doing a bunch of X's all around each other. and then filling the circle by the edges of it. And then later on, when that becomes easier, we only need like the plus and X, and after that, just the plus sign. And then later on, you don't need to do anything. That is like a technique, and you will be graded on that. Very simple things to do. And then once you're done with the techniques, then they say, all right, draw draw something that would I don't know, like I don't know why I'm talking about this, but like that's a stupid fucking what the hell? This book is kind of pissing me off. Like that's so basic. All right, whatever. Today I'm going to place you with partners. Mrs. Stanley says she pulled out sheets of paper outlining our activities to come. To keep this simple, I'm going to partner you with the person you are currently assigned to share a desk with, she said. Um, okay. I sighed, knowing that I was bound to be paired up with Alex, a guy that I had specifically asked to be seated away from ever since he peed in a jar, literally right next to me under our desk, acting like he was so cool for publicly exposing himself while simultaneously urinating. What? It happened weeks ago, and I still can't figure out what kind of crazy it takes for you to, in the presence of people you barely know but have to see nearly on a daily basis, pee in a jar held in your hand just beneath your desk in the middle of classroom. What then? Yeah, you show it off like you were being praised and accepted as if it were an accomplishment. Alex, despite being borderline mental, was one of my least favorite people to study. Okay. I couldn't help but feel there was some defect in his mind that invalidated the point of conducting a thorough analysis of him. He was completely irrelevant when considering the realities of normal human behavior. This is a long chapter. As I was off on a tangent in my own mind, I heard a familiar voice ring out, one that inspired the same emotion you experience when a song you had forgotten you loved randomly plays in the background of your daily life. That's all right. That's a pretty good. com- That's like that. That's relatable. All right. I wouldn't know if I used that like that. All right. Can I be paired up with James? Her voice was just as I remembered. What the fuck? Why would Is this Abigail? Let me see. Despite her having not spoken to me in class in some time, she hadn't changed a note. Abby had introed the teacher just to partner with me, but I asked myself if it was really just to work with me or just to get away from Jason. So she just randomly wanted to work with him. This is randomly. Why Jason? Why? There's a whole bunch. Maybe everyone in the classroom is just a loser, and James is just the coolest person. All right. I mean, you gotta progress a story somehow. The teacher, looking irritated but understanding Abby's discomfort with Jason, responded, Alex and Jason, you'll be partners. James, switch seats with Jason. I mean, why should James switch seats with her? I mean, Abby should be the one switching because she's the one that asked for it. Thank you, Abby said with a slight smile. With a cocky grin, Jason stood up and in a comedic fashion smelled his armpits. Wow, I didn't know I smelled that bad. Jason said as he walked over to sit by Alex. All right, I found a typo, by the way. This needs a comma. That's so funny. That was so funny, by the way. Yeah, the reason why she doesn't want to be partners with me is because I smell funny. That line was so unnecessary. A lot of these sentences were not necessary. Approaching Abby was no doubt way scarier. Approaching Abby was no doubt a way scarier act in my mind than it was to everyone around me. I felt like my head was burning from the inside out. Nevertheless, that's a good word. Nevertheless, there should be a comma after that. Nevertheless, I continued to remind myself that her public outcry to partner with me could have meant nothing. I sat down next to her and did all I could not to turn into a complete dork. Dork. She reached out and grabbed the project outline that was passed out. Mrs. Stanley began to read the description of the assignment. Today you will both be taking something meaningful but expendable from your own homes. Mrs. Stanley looked up and emphasized, that you own. They looked back down at the paper. You will tear those items apart here in class. You will then take those items and using the I don't know how to say that word. Staples. Okay, so they want to combine two items together. All right, that's pretty cool. Jason raised his hand, objecting. All due respect, Mrs. Stanley, I'm not breaking something of mine for this class. I mean, yeah, yeah. All due respect, Mrs. Stanley, I'm not breaking something of mine for this class. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. She replied, putting her hands on your hips. That's fine, Jason. We'll supply you with a toilet paper rolls. We'll have plenty for extra around here. Jason suddenly looked disturbed and sarcastically sprouted. Freaking great. What the hell am I reading? Is like, where's the Abbigale part? I don't care about these characters. Are you sure? Freaking great. Mrs. Stanley asked, are you sure your grade shouldn't suffer that much if you two just take Alex's piss jar and tape it to a toilet paper roll? You're already failing this class. What the fuck? A teacher? Yeah. Yeah, Jason couldn't believe what she had just said, and Alex maintained an awkward frozen facial expression with his mouth slightly open with a normal weirdo, somewhat robotic fashion. Oh my god, Abby whispered under her breath with a slight smirk. I grinned uncontrollably. Just seeing her amused was amazing to me. I could hear a scream in the back of my mind reminding me of my dorkiness and borderline obsession was escaping through my face. It's not that I couldn't help being in awe of Abby was. Let me read this again. It's not that I couldn't help being in awe of Abby and basically every little thing she did. I simply didn't want to change how I felt. What the fuck does this mean? In a way, I mean, you could probably end the sentence, end the paragraph right there. In a way, she was like your favorite song or book. You could pretend not to like it, and in time with the right mental coaching, maybe you would sincerely dislike it. But life just felt so much better embracing your condition entirely, letting all your nerdy admiration flow freely. Like, do you not know what emotions are? Mrs. Stanley continued, any if there's anyone else who has an issue, please take it up with my 1-800 number, which is. She put her hands in the air, signaling the students to react, but only a couple kids replied aloud with her catchphrase, 1-800 boo hoo, they mumbled. Take it up with my number. Oh, you don't want to do it? Here it is, 1-800 boo hoo. This is not real. She continued, good. Now for the rest of class, please work with your partner on what you plan to bring and draw us up a prototype sketch of what you feel like. Blah 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 blah. Okay, so blah 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 blah. Okay, finally, Abigail stuff. I just skipped like a paragraph because this paragraph was completely pointless. What are you going to bring, James? Abby asked. It was amazing to hear my name pass her lips, but I had no time to think. What the fuck? Does he just get a boner every time he talks? This is weird. He's gonna kill her. I bet you anything this guy is he's gonna like become super obsessed with Abigail, but she's not going to like him the same way he does. So he's going to kill her and he has to hide her body. It's gonna be like that Edgar Allan Poe. This guy is just pissed off with his like neighbor's beating heart. Not beating, he just hates his neighbor. I think it's because he was blind or something. So he kills him and takes out his heart and no, he doesn't take off his heart. He just kills him and hides him underneath the floor. The cops come and they're having a good time, but he can hear like the guy's beating heart, like it's going through his mind. The guilt is getting to him, and then he confesses. This is what this book is going to be like. Or maybe I'm just trying to be nice to the writer because that would be pretty cool. That would be a really good story. I don't think it's gonna be like this. I think it's just gonna be him. Oh, I need to impress Abigail. Okay. I have no idea, I responded. Smiling, she said, I'm going to bring my hamster cage. Did he die or something? She laughed. No, I never got one. The cage was just a gift from my dad. Your dad didn't get you a hamster for the cage? She paused and started to lose her smile. Oh, her dad beats her. At the first, or maybe her dad is dead. At the first sign of her smile fading away, I felt a crushing pressure in my chest. Hopefully you can find something that will work with that, she said. I couldn't help but feel like a total jerk despite not knowing what I did wrong. Dude, it's so obvious. Her dad either abuses her, or he's dead, or she doesn't have a dad, and she's always felt like an outcast. It's not hard. What the fuck? I mean, you just tell her, hey, did I say something wrong? I'm sorry. Oh, wait. I had the overwhelming urge to fix how she felt, so I took a gamble. Well, I could always bring that weird vibrating thing my mom hides in her drawers and wrap up in a cloth. That's not funny. Like, that's not funny, but I bet you anything she's going to laugh. You're you, hi. Oh, hello there, Korean lad. Okay, this guy, James, has hurt Abigail's feelings, and he doesn't know why, but it's so obvious that her dad like did something or something happened to her dad. So then he jokes about bringing his mom's dildo to class, and she laughs. She busted out laughing hysterically as a huge grin filled my face. I was so happy I could get her to smile again. Ew, James, she continued to laugh at the extent of my grin being began to stress my cheeks. I couldn't help at a time that I was just obvious about how I felt. Hello, the Korean lad. I'm reading a terrible book. Oh my god, this is just bad writing. Okay. Yes, it's supposed to be in the screen. I have the book right here. This is a real paragraph. Read this paragraph. Look right here. Here. I wanna zoom in a bit more. Look. Look at this. Oh my god. I had the overwhelming urge because right now they're they're in class and they're in art class. They are assigned a partner. And this guy has like a thing for this girl that he's never like really talked to. He just has a thing for her. Like he can't explain it. He just has a thing for her. Then all of a sudden, she just says, "I want to be his partner for no reason." There's like 20 kids in this classroom. She picks him. Why? Is he like the only cool guy? But then he also explains maybe she just did it just to get away from another douchebag close to her. I don't know. I don't know. I think it's just terribly paced. I had the overwhelming urge to fix how she felt, so I took a gamble. Okay, sorry. Let me explain. Sorry, I'm reading this. So now that they're partners, their assignment is to bring something from their house so that they can break apart and combine it with their other partner's item to make it into one item, one super item, I guess. It's for art class. And she said she's gonna bring a hamster cage, and the guy's like, "Oh, did your hamster die?" And she says, "No, I just never got one. My dad gave me this cage." And then the main character says, "Did your dad give you the cage with no hamster?" And then she loses her smile. And then he's all like, "Oh man, I couldn't help but feel like a total jerk despite not knowing what I did wrong. It's simple. You talked about her dad, and apparently her dad did something bad to her." And so he says, "I gotta make her happy. Let me talk about mom's dildo." And then she says, "Ew, James." And then he just gets a boner over it. That's really bad writing. Oh my god. There's like, oh, pff. Abby laughing trailed off as she paused. Turning to me, she said, "You." You didn't actually. Your mom's? I responded, no, I wouldn't know about that, but I'm glad it made you laugh. Wow, James, you're more goofy than I thought. She's getting beat up by her hamsters. Now that's. Think about it. Her hamsters, she doesn't have a hamster though. I sat next to her looking at my finger interlaced in front of me. My wide smile relaxed, but still filled my cheeks with warmth. As class came close to as class came to a close, Abby patted me on my arm. I turned around and she handed me a note. Instantly, I put it in my pocket and she says, "See you tomorrow." Okay, so what does the note say? On my way to my next class, I opened the note. I didn't understand it, but I read, Nise 1. What the fuck is this? This is what the note says. Not knowing what to make of it, I stuffed it back in my pocket later. Okay, yes. Is he trying to spell his name? Onision? Not feeling like skating. Oh, Naomi says hello to you, Korean lad. Not feeling like skating home. Oh, he doesn't feel like skating home. I got on the bus to see all the normal rejects and misfits waiting. Davis, a short and scrawny kid who had been my best friend since middle school, despite being one grade behind me, excitedly waved me over. James, nice to see you, he said in a seemingly the dorkiest way possible. I smiled as he stood up, giving me the window seat, knowing very well that I preferred it. Okay, this guy's gay. His friend is gay. Davis is gay. He wants to have sex with James. As I sat down, I began looking up. I mean, that's a good. What grade are these kids in? I'm assuming they're in high school. That's a good question. What grade are these kids in? Yeah, it's never explained what grade they're in. I'm in the grade 30 year old. All right, Pina. All right, let's continue. This is a terrible book already. Like I'm on page 6 and I already like it's taking me like an hour just to get like 10, like 5 pages. Oh my God, this is terrible. But it's not like the worst book. I can get through this. But like there's so many red flags. Each page there's something wrong. As I sat down, I began looking out the window, analyzing the little humans running left and right to get on their buses. Something reached out and caught the corner of my eyes. I immediately shifted my head to see what was clearly, and it was Abby standing in the parking lot by some beat up sedan. "What you looking at, James?" Davis asked. Without hesitation, I began to respond, "Oh, it's Abby. She's in my art." My heart sank as I witnessed a boy I barely knew named Seth walk up and kiss Abby on the lips. Oh man. Oh man, dude, James is going to kill her boyfriend. Dude, what if this book is about Abby and she's a whore and James just can't admit it and she gets so many boyfriends and James gets so jealous that he kills every boyfriend. That would be a dope story. It's not gonna happen though. James, Davis said, but by that point his voice was a faint echo and the darkness of my mind instantly lost itself in. Okay, this guy's taking itself really seriously. Yeah, yeah, Abby, you find Abby cool, so like you shouldn't be surprised that she has a boyfriend. I felt like after a life of numbness, I was finally about to Dude, what the fuck? Read this sentence. So he for the first time he met for the first time he actually get to hang out with Abby, and Abby is like oh Abby's cool and I have a thing for her. She watches him kiss someone named Seth, which is like a cracker name. Like this guy's clearly on drugs, and this is his reaction. Like my friend talked to me, but by that point his voice was a faint echo, and the darkness of my mind instantaneously lost itself in. I felt like after a life of numbness, I was finally about to truly feel warmth for the first time, only to have it all taken away in an instant, leaving me hopeless in the shadows, alone once again. Oh, that's hot topic talk. That's so. Oh man, this guy listens to Evanescence, some Oh man. Also, there's a typo here. There's a lot of typos in this book. There needs to be a space right there. I looked down at my knees, feeling as if I lost almost. Oh my god! Leave the book on the screen. I don't know if I can do that, Korean lad. I don't know if I can get a copyright. Like I'm not reading the whole. Like yeah, I don't know if I can do that. I'm gonna show you most parts though, because I've showed you most parts. Hey, you know what? I'll do it. I'll do it. I don't care. I'm gonna do it. Yeah. Are you okay? I responded with hesitation. Just stupid. No, you're not. You're one of the coolest guys I know. Dude, he's gay. He's gay. All right. I'm gonna keep it like this because I'm afraid of copyright. But why, why does Davis like this guy? James has been nothing but an asshole. I continued my sentence as he offered words of encouragement. Okie dokie. Well, you're awesome and should be super happy. So if you want to talk, I'm your buddy. So I'm here to talk. If you can always avoid using the same word in a sentence, yeah, avoid using the same word in a sentence. I was so focused on the conflicting conflict raging in my mind to hear at any point. I couldn't think about anything else but Seth kissing Abby the entire trip home. Wow. That night, my mom was literally just serving lentil beans she prepared on her crock pot for the billionth time. A fair exaggeration, but still, it was excessive to say the least. All right. My sister was behave. Davis is gay. Yeah, he's gay. Yeah. My sister was behaving as she usually did at the dinner table, talking about how stupid she thought school was and how she couldn't wait for college. How was work, Mom? I asked, trying to keep my mind off the haunting image looping in my mind. Wow, the haunting image. Abby being happy, kissing a guy is haunting. No one can kiss Abby except for me. Well, no one at work respects me or listens to and I generally can't stand it. But you know, we still have food on the table. She said in a in a stern tone. My sister barked as food flew out of her mouth. Well, at least it's not like my high school. I'm learning how to be a successful person from a bunch of low-income losers. My mom replied, whatever your teachers are, they have full-time jobs, which is more than a lot of people can say. My mom gave my sister Lisa a disappointed look. Lisa was well known for showing little respect for hardworking people. Why? Okay, so her sister's also a dick. To her, it didn't matter how much you gave back to society, only how much money you made. Okay, well. So right now, I've learned that James has a mother who works a lot and a sister who's just a bitch. Cool. After the rerun of lentil soup, I washed the dishes per my mom's orders. Per my mom's orders. No, you just do that because it's respectful, you asshole. Wow. Wow, I didn't realize washing dishes was order. I have a comment on like every single paragraph in this book. And they're not good. I sat on the floor of the tub thinking about I sat on the floor of the tub. So he sat on he's in the shower and he sat on the floor of the tub. Wow, he's that upset. This is over dramatic. I sat on the floor of the tub thinking about Abby, barely feeling the water as it hit my chest. Wait, okay. I was so consumed with what I had seen, I had completely forgotten the note until that moment. I quickly reached over my pants, reaching on the toilet, toiletty. Okay. I hoped to read it wrong the first time, and it made sense with a second look, only to see exactly what I gathered my initial panting glance. Nice. I don't know what that word means. Like this note. This is the note that she gave him. I don't get this note. I mumbled to myself. I joked with the idea in my head she had handed me the wrong note, but I assumed it wasn't a failed attempt to say nice one. Oh, that actually makes sense. Nice one. Which could be taken as a compliment if you were desperate enough. Second, I think it's supposed to say nice one. I know. That's what I thought too. And apparently this is what the reader said. He solved it. Seconds into looking at the note, my eyes widened, having figured out what it meant. Wait, what does it mean? Okay, wait. Isn't that what it means? Nice one. Yeah, that's what it means. So what do you mean? Okay, I jumped up, slipping into my feet, and screamed, "Yeah, I had cracked it." What did you crack? Only to immediately after completely feeling stupid for not figuring it out sooner. What the hell is he talking about? He did something dumb. Yeah, he wrote a book. That's what he did wrong. This is such a stupid. My mom screamed through the door from her bedroom. What? I responded, sorry, nothing. I hurried to finish showering. Wait, he read the note while he was showering? That's whatever. Staring at my phone, wearing only a towel, I smiled as I typed in nice one or 6473663 into the key numbers. Wait, I need food. Wait a minute. A phone number. How the fuck do you get this to a phone number? It's lentil soup. How did you get that into what? What? Oh my, I don't. You use the phone number alphabet. I know what he means, but how do you get this note into a phone number? What? How? Like, that makes no sense. What kind of person does that? You know, if it was a math equation, that would make sense. It's not a math equation. This is this is clearly like she's trying to spell something. Obviously, like you would think it's a typo. So you wouldn't think like if it was like a bunch of random num if it was like a bunch of random like letters, then I would respect. It's this is not a bunch of random letters. There's like one. The letter the word one is here. I just don't see it. I don't think this is a realistic term. I understand where he's going though. I understand what he's trying to do. Yeah, you know, she gave me a note. The note makes no sense. This is clearly a code. The only problem is no there is no direct this doesn't make any sense. There's no way to acknowledge that the note was a code to begin with. Like the note is not a code. I don't know. I don't see it. I don't see it. Okay, anyways, he writes down the number. I assumed we shared the same area code, otherwise she likely would have given me a longer sequence of letter, and I was right. After two rings, I got the answer. Wait, so she called him. He called this random number. He does not have any idea who. He just randomly calls this number. And look, it's a disgruntled man. Look, he called the number, and a man answers. It's not Abigail. Ah! Let's read the sentence. Let's read this paragraph. What do you want? A disgruntled man voice asks. Like a bad engine struggling to start in the monster movie, I clumsily. Is that even spelled? Is that spelled correctly? I was looking for an unenthusiastic female voice. Oh, it was the right number. Give me the phone. Whatever, he said, dropping the phone in front of her. How would you know he dropped the phone in front of her? You're on the other side of the phone. Hello? I could recognize the voice now. Now it was Abby. It was correct. He broke the code. He broke the code. This is terrible. Okay, okay, listen. When I first read this book, The book was not good, but it wasn't like the worst book ever. This is now a bad book. This is now a bad book. I'm I gotta finish this book. Oh my god, trying to hide my excitement. This is there's you know what? There could have been a way. There could have been a way. Dude, look how long this paragraph is. Holy shit. Oh my god. Trying to hide my excitement by maintaining a normal tone, I said, "This is James." Abigail excitedly screamed and responded, "Oh my god, you figured it out." This makes no fucking sense. You're not smart. You gave this is not a good. Why am I trying to blame the characters? It's you figured it out. Hearing an optimistic tone, I laughed, saying, "So why?" She interrupted. "I was hoping you'd find out if you figured out." Wait, what? I was hoping to find out if you figured out what you're bringing to art class. Oh, okay, yeah, I couldn't see anything immediate. I'll surprise you. Then she replied, "Oh, come on, tell me. How about my bear? I'll bring my bear." He's gonna bring a stuffed animal. Yeah. Oh, okay. I have an idea. Instead of a cage, I'll bring my stuffed animal of mine. We'll make like a zombie bear. I laughed. Awesome. I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, bye. I did it. I finished the first chapter. It took me an hour and 6 minutes to finish this chapter. They're going to make a Frankenstein bear for art class, which is not bad. That's actually a pretty cool idea. I think it's like emo. I think it's like hot topic. Like they listen to a lot of, you know, Breaking Benjamin and some Black Veil Brides. So dark and emo. Oh my god. Read the next chapter. It takes me an average of like 10 to 30 minutes. Man, I'm telling you, lad, this is not a good. I don't want to talk bad about this. I can't write for shit. I'm not good at writing, but this book, I read good books. I read Lord of the Rings. I've read Harry Potter. Harry Potter is really good writing. There are some like nitpicks I have. Fine then, I'll read it right now. Don't read it. Don't read it. Don't read it. I'm gonna read it for you. You know what? Maybe it's because I'm critiquing too much. This chapter, I'm not going to critique at all. I'm gonna try my best not to critique. Okay? I'm not going to critique. I'm going to just read. First, I'm gonna need a water because I'm talking a lot. This book, this book fucking sucks. Oh my god. All right, I'm not gonna read until Korean lad came back. Until Korean lad comes back. Peanut, are you still here? I know you. I know you're reading your. I know you're reading your. Your. You're on your phone. Sorry. Oh my God, this is torture. This is so torture. All right. Hmm. You're still here? Peanut, how are you liking the story? So, let's break it down. Let's break down the story while we wait for Korean lad. If Korean lad takes like more than 10 minutes to come back, then all right. So, first things first. Is this a good book? The first chapter? No. This is not a good book. Is it bad? I think it's bad. I don't think it's terrible. So far, I don't think it's terrible, but it's not good. It's not decent. It's at its very, very best mediocre. If I had this in a book and I was reading it, I would probably stop reading it. The reason why I'm reading it is because Naomi and you guys want me to read this. You want me to be tortured. Now, let's talk about some good things about this book. Some good things about this book. Um, I can't really say the characters are different. They all kind of sound the same. I mean, no, they all kind of sound the same. Abigail is kind of. Excuse me, I sneezed. I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry you had to hear that. I'd say like the most different people is Abby and Davis. Now, I think the main problem with this book that I have a problem with. Good thing I think the hamster is the pulling the strings behind this in the shower. Peanut, I don't think the writer. I'm very sorry for sneezing. Thank you. Oh man. All right, 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 all right. All right. There's I think the reader, not the reader. I think the writer is building up these characters. Mr. Hanson, the the teacher. You should read chapter 7. I'm on chapter 2, Naomi. I'm not going to read the whole book this stream, okay? I'm not going to, unless it's very short. It's 90 pages long. I'll finish it in like maybe like 4 streams. Lad is here. Lad, are you ready for me to continue reading? There's no way I'm going to be finishing it this stream. There's no way. There's no way. I'm going to get bored of this book. If I was reading Holes, which I probably might because I love Holes. In my opinion, my favorite book to read is Holes. If there is like a graph on what a perfect book should be, I think Holes is a good starting start because Holes is very short, it's very easy on the eyes, and anyone can get into it. It is the definition in my mind of what a perfect book should be. Now, is there problems with Holes? Very much. This book is very amateurish. It's not for those who are looking for an epic adventure. Like like if you're gonna compare Holes to like The Road or No Country for Old Men, those books are far superior. Your cat climbed on your TV and broke it? Oh, that sucks, man. Oh, that sucks. I remember my friend had a cat and he bought this. big ass like 35, 75-inch TV, and the cat peed on it. Holes is a great book. I love Holes. If anyone wants me to do a recommendation on books, I say read Holes. And there's a movie on Holes. Yeah, like the Disney movie, Holes is a great book. I like almost I think every chapter in Holes is just fun. That's what I love about Holes. When you think about books, you think boring words and everything, but Holes, everything about Holes is great. The story is great. Everything connects so well. The flow of the book is extremely good. There's no bullshit in Holes. That's what I love about Holes. There's no bullshit. It's very straightforward. It gives you what you want. The ending is rather lackluster compared to everything because it's such a typical happy ending, but it still makes you smile. Holes is like if I had to compare like you like psychology books? Um this is not a book, but if you like things about like psychology and like mind inducing, a movie that you would like is Perfect Blue. Perfect Blue is a trippy movie. All right. Anyways, should I let me stop talking. Let's continue reading this book. Yes. Is everyone okay with me reading the book? Let me continue reading this book. Let me know if everyone's okay. Okay. Let's continue. We're on chapter two. This is how long is this chapter? Oh, 6 pages. Fuck. All right. If you want me to like show the words, I will, but not for a long time because I don't know if I could get copyrighted. I'm gonna try my best not to critique too much too, because that's probably the reason why it took me like an hour to do it. The following morning, oh, by the way, there's a character named Mr. Hanson. Yeah, so that's very original. The following morning, Mr. Hanson approached me in the hallway before class started. "We're supposed to talk," he said in his usual stern voice. I responded, "I know, but what about? Do I have TTS?" What is that? I don't know. No, I don't. I don't know what that is. He began gesturing with his hands as he often did. I guess it was a habit he developed to trick people into believing he was about to say something interesting. Do I have tits? You know, you're a smart kid, but you keep showing up late to my classes and it's becoming a problem. He said, surprised he showed genuine interest. I replied with a smirk, I'll do better in the future. He continued, all right, well, I also wanted to ask you about a TA opportunity, a teacher's assistant opportunity. I replied, you don't have a teacher's assistant? It was, all right. So I already mentioned this before. Just one last gripe. Whenever you do quotations like this, whenever you do speaking, I like to break it apart. It's not a rule, but this is very rough on the eyes. I don't like it. It's just a nitpick. I watched a bead of sweat fall down his balding forehead as he responded to the last. What the? All right, no more critiquing. Let me know when you want me to critique. Like if you want me to critique, just say this. Just say critique or whatever, however you spell it. I'm not sure if that's the correct way to spell it. Let me see, critique. I'm not sure that's the correct way to spell it. The last TA moved, and yeah, you're not always on time, but you get the work done, and honestly and efficiently. I mean, right. Okay, Mr. Haston. Next semester, critique is right. Oh, thank you. He authoritatively replied, "No, you can't just take an elective class credit and I'll let your current teacher. No, you can just take an elective class credit and I'll let your current teacher know you'll be working with me for now on." I immediately thought of the possibility of losing art class and rejected the idea. My only elective is art class right now, and I don't want to give that up. There should be a period. He took a step back, looking offended, and lost his temper. Art? Art class is a joke, James. Oh man, I love this. This is actually a pretty interesting. Wow. Tell me one person you know who's making a living painting pictures. All the students nearby in the house stop and towards. Wow. I wasn't about to sacrifice the one class I had with Abby for along with a sweaty, anger-prone history teacher. You're gonna leave? Okay, okay, no problem. I'll see you later, Korean. Bye, y'all. Okay, take care, lad. You know what? I kind of don't want to read this. I'm gonna keep reading it because Peanut is still here, and so are you, Naomi. So Mr. Hanson is pissed off at James because he won't give up art to become a teacher's assistant. And the reason why he won't become a teacher's assistant and give up art is because Abby's in this class. Abby is so important to him that he will give up a teacher's assistant. Mr. Hanson looked at everyone stopped in the class and screamed, "Oh, ha ha! Everyone look at Mr. Hanson. He's such a goof. Move along, kids." Everyone just looked at him and he turned back to me, maintaining his clearly frustrated posture. Then he waddled he waddled into his classroom to begin class. He waddled like a penguin. Okay, that's a real shit. Then he waddled into his classroom. That's how fat he is. I reluctantly entered with the remaining students to sit at my desk, which was conveniently with a broomstick range, Mr. Hanson's desk. Alright. After enduring another useless history lesson revolving around my home state, Washington, it was finally time for art class. So now we know where he lives. He lives in Washington, Lakewood, or Lakewood, Washington. I walked as fast as I could without looking too awkward. In a normal fashion, only Abby wasn't even in the room. I sat down in my new seat and waited, only to see everyone but her fill the room. Oh, Abby's not there. Oh, okay. So we have a teacher yelling at him, which is completely realistic, but apparently this is like the worst school ever. Now, I'm in I'm in America. Cl- Schools are this bad. But I think this is a bit stupid. Mrs. Stanley closed the door to our class trailer and instructed us to begin dismembering the possessions we brought home from home. I began cutting the bear with a scalpel. Mrs. Stanley provided me, but my muscles seemed to work on their own as I found myself consumed with Abby again. Her overwhelming presence on the edge of every dot fragment of my mind. Just a short. Why is he still obsessed with her? Isn't she? Doesn't she have a boyfriend? Just a short while into class, I found myself looking down at my bear, now cut into 6 pieces. I felt like I was in a science lab dissecting an actual animal. The most noticeably difference being the cotton stuffing didn't look like or stink like old flesh. Well, no duh. Later that day, during lunch, due to my mom not being able to afford to buy me any cell phone, I used a payphone to call Abby but got no answer. Wow, okay. I didn't feel like eating, so the rest of lunch I just sat on a bench outside staring at people interacting with each other. He's a fucking loser. I made a major effort to distract. I mean, where's Seth? He should be talking to Seth. He should kill Seth so he could be with Abby. That'll be crazy. It's gonna be an anti-hero story. That's what my story is. My story is an anti-hero story. Let's do this. I made a major effort to distract myself, knowing that focusing on what could be was the most blah 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 blah. So he's just looking at people, blah blah blah. Later that night, I had just finished my shower. I placed the cordless phone we had in my house. I would have dialed her, but I didn't want to call more than blah blah blah. What the fuck? Hurry up! Give me some good shit. That night, a few different calls came in, but they were always from my sister Lisa. Her receiving a barrage of phone calls just random. Okay, so her sister's a whore too. The normal conversation you're expected to hear Lisa tell was excessive. Now revolve. No, no, here, no, no, there. This is how stupid. This is how. What the hell is? To the Lakewood High. Okay, so I believe they're in high school. I didn't want to know what she was talking about ever, but my TV volume couldn't compete with her voice. It was like she thought she was so important, everyone around her should just hear everything she said, no matter how trivial the topic was. Wow. Like his sister has more character than him. After a couple hours, she finally stopped running her mouth, so I turned off my TV within my roof of darkness. I welcomed the silence with a warm blanket. On a, wait, I welcomed the silence like a warm blanket on a cold night. That's a really good sentence, I think. After a couple hours, she finally stopped running her mouth, so I turned off my TV, and with it, my room faded into darkness. I welcomed the silence like a warm blanket on a cold night. This is actually really good writing. I mean, this first sentence could probably be like, summed down, but I don't think I have a problem with this. This is a really good sentence. Okay, all right. I mean, what do you think about that sentence, Peanut? What do you think about this sentence? I kind of like it. This is here. Yeah, let me see. I mean, it's not the best, but it's compared to everything that I've been reading, this is not bad. I woke up the next morning to see the phone sitting there, just like my stupid alarm clock, useless and unbearably annoying to look at. Why? I expected it to sound set up at some point, but like the clock, it failed to deliver. Deliver. It was raining outside. Let me do this. Clouds fill the sky like it's pretty smooth. I think it's okay. Yeah, it's a pretty good sentence. It was raining outside. Clouds filled the sky in normal liquid fashion. Okay, so far these are actually really good sentences. This might be like it was raining outside. Clouds filled the sky in normal liquid fashion. This could be the first sentence of the book. If this was the first sentence of the book, this would this is a good sentence. The fact that it's not in the first line though is bad. If this was in the first like if this was the first sentence, this gives me many things. First, it gives me the attitude. It gives me the tone. Raining outside. It's depressing. You are going to read a depressing book. Clouds fill the sky in normal Lakewood fashion. Oh, so his place is very depressing. You know where he is. He's in Lakewood, a place called Lakewood, and it's normal for this type of behavior. Like this, I'm actually. I mean, I don't know how I feel about reading a sentence with a semicolon, but this is not bad. This is not bad. I think someone else wrote this. Now, I think like this part someone wrote this. Okay, maybe not. Maybe I'm just being a dick. That's not bad. I wasn't going to skate. I would rather have that line as the first sentence. I wasn't going to skate to school this time. Okay, out of fear it would rust my skates and hinder my ability to skate. Holy fuck. Okay, we went from having good lines into this shit. Look at this. It was raining outside. Clouds filled the sky in normal liquid fashion. That's really good writing. I like that. That's like I think that's pretty good. And then you get hit with this sentence. I wasn't going to skate to school this time out of fear it would rust my skates and hinder my ability to skate. Three skates in one sentence. No. Instead, I decided to ride the bus, pretending for only moments I really had a choice. As I climbed out the bus, Davis rang out, "Hallelujah! James is here to save everyone from the evil clouds." I genuinely smiled for the first time that morning, thanks to him. Okay. So now he's gay for Davis. As I sat next to the window, see, Davis courtesy always offered me. Okay, so he just gave him the window seat. All right, Davis is a nice guy then. So far, Davis has just been kissing his ass. The beginning of history class was the same old story. As I usual as usual, I barely paid attention. I just thought about Abby and hoped she was okay. Interrupting my thoughts of Abby came. I mean, you don't need to say Abby twice. You can just say her. It was odd to hear his voice. Okay, wait. Interrupting my thoughts of her, came a very rude outburst by Jason. It was odd to hear his voice, as I wasn't supposed to see him till art class. He stood outside our closed door, waving his hands in hope of disrupting us. It was clear for no reason more meaningful that a toddler would have invoking chaos. Oh man, they're gonna fight. Yeah. Jason began banging on the door, so Mr. Hanson walked over and opened it. Why aren't you class? Why aren't you in your class, Jason? And Jason responded, got kicked out. What's up? Go stand outside until your class is over. Yeah, Mr. Hanson's cool. Yeah, get the fuck out of here. And then Jason is talking back to him. Don't tell me what to do, fatty. Oh man, I can see Mr. Hanson was about to lose it. He's about to lose it. No, let him lose it. Lose it. No one wants to hear Jason. Mr. Hanson looked at me with a look of surprise. He seemed shocked that I would do anything on his behalf. Jason became extremely silent, never refusing to look anywhere at but me. Oh, his glare was intense, but seemed so focused, like he wasn't really offended, but didn't want to look weak in front of class. Oh, what the fuck? I mean, that was very anticlimactic. He talked. Okay, so Jason got kicked out of class. He went to Mr. Hanson's door. He's like, "Yo, let me come in class." Mr. Hanson says, "No, you can't." Jason talks back to Mr. Hanson. Mr. Hanson is gonna beat the shit out of him because that's what every teacher does. And then Jason says, "You, no one wants you here." And then when Jason says it, oh my God, everyone's afraid of Jason. That is this none of this is earned. As class came closer to an end, Jason was no longer staring at me and wasn't even visible from my perspective. Knowing Jason had something left to prove, many of the students naturally assumed he was hiding somewhere within the immediate vicinity. I could tell most everyone was concerned as they kept looking back at me. Oh, wondering what I was going to do about to clear. Oh man, they were wondering what he was going to do with Jason, who was an enraged dog that no doubt was still lurking just outside the door. Oh, dude, Jason is gonna kick his ass. Every kid in there knew I couldn't just hide out in the class. I was sure this was some kind of victory for Mr. Hanson. He knew I wouldn't have this immediate problem, and I accepted his offer to TA with him. What the fuck? No, tell the teacher. Hey, I think Jason is outside and he's going to kick my ass, and I don't want to fight because I don't want to be expelled. Tell that. Don't just accept this TA. This is so stupid. You could do that with a teacher. That's not if if the teacher refuses, it doesn't help you. Go to the principal, get his ass fired. My decision that you don't even like Mr. Hanson, so do it. My decision led me to this. I built a doorway to certainly destructive. Or I built my decisions led me to this. I built a doorway to certain destruction, and I knew if I was going to be brave, I'd had to walk through it. That's overdramatic. I didn't have time to deal with hesitation once class is over. Seeing Abby was my real priority. Wow. I don't even want to talk about that sentence. I walked out with the class just like I normally did, only this time Jason was following close behind, and I'm sure most everyone assumed he would. Oh yeah. I was about to leave the main building to head towards the art trailer, only to feel a hand grab my shoulder. The hand slipped as I pulled away, nails scraping along my skin to clamp on my shirt. I was yanked swiftly back into the main hall door. It began. Oh man, there goes the fight. There's a fight going on now. I yanked my shirt aggressively out of his hand and clutched my now scratched up shoulder. I was now facing Jason, who lunged at me and threw me into the already half broken hall door just behind me. I bounced back from the impact and pushed Jason in the center of his chest to to distance him from me so I could continue walking away. I'm stuttering. I'm very sorry, everyone. Without hesitation, he used my response to justify further violence and began throwing punches. I was knocked to the ground within seconds, and he began trying to pull off my backpack, resulting me. briefly drag. Oh, okay, so he's being dragged by like a helpless child. Okay, so James is not that perfect. He's actually like getting overpowered. Finally, something threatening. I was now a couple yards away from the door. I mean, a couple yards away. All right, I think he's just dragging onto this. I twisted away to return to a standing position while simultaneously snatching my backpack so hard that it flew out of my hand and smacked the door behind me, leaving a huge crack in the glass. Oh man, he's in trouble. That's vandalism. He's in trouble. This fight scene is kind of dragging. People began to gather around us, and like chemical reaction, they began screaming, just as they did before. Much of what was happening was a blur, but I remember they would scream every time Jason hit me through the unrefutably one-way fight. It got quickly to the point where I didn't even feel the punches. I could only hear them laughing and yelling as Jason swung again and again. I kept falling over and over, but every time I would return to stand only to fail at defending myself from further blows. I didn't block a single hit. I didn't even throw one punch at him. That's good. Don't do that. You'll get fucking expelled. And even though you're trying to defend yourself by doing that, you still don't want to do that. I mean, you can still block. I don't know why you didn't block though. As my nose began to bleed, one of the boys my sister was friends with, Matthew, grabbed me and pulled me out of the fight. He was twice my size, but was also on Jason's football team, so naturally he did nothing to help me win. Wait, what? The only thing he offered me was an end to the beating I was suffering. We need to break this down. There's so much wrong with it. All right, so the pacing of the fight is not the best, but it's doable. It's passable. So my sister friend Matthew, we got introduced by another character, Matthew. He pulled you out of the fight. So here's the thing. There was another fight scene like last chapter for some reason, another fight. Yeah, fights are common. No one came to interrupt them. No one, like Matthew didn't stop them. And for some reason, when James was in a fight, he got stopped. I guess he was lucky. This sentence, he was twice my size, but was only on Jason's football team, so naturally, but was also on Jason's football team, so naturally he did nothing to help me win. You weren't winning. You weren't winning. Shortly after, so Matthew took him off. He separated them. Shortly, all right, whatever. All right, who gets in trouble now? I'm assuming now that Matthew has them separated, the teachers will come and stop him. Let's read the next line. Shortly after the fight ended, I found myself sitting on a mattress in the nurse's office, not allowed to leave, not allowed to do anything but think about what happened. Despite everything and running in my head, scrambled and disorganized, there was Abby, waiting for me in the same place just as she sat in the back of the class. Why? Okay, so, alright, that's weird. Alright. So even though everything bad is happening, all I could think about is Abby. As lunch approached, Principal Lehman came. Principal Lehman, so we learned the principal's name. I was staying at the nurse's office and he asked me how I was feeling. I responded, well, my tooth is chipped, my chin hurts, my face is bruised, and I got humiliated in front of my peers. Mr. Lehman said, I've gotten multiple statements that you pushed him. What's your response? Oh, I like this. I replied, I pushed him back after he pushed me first. All I did was push him back once, and then he did this to my face. I made a circular motion around my face. Okay, yeah. Well, he's suspended for 10 days. That's it? That's it? You can't. He's not expelled, dude. Can't you like charge? Can't. All right, whatever. He paused, and I felt relief, assuming the principal was on my side. But then he continued, "You'll be suspended for 2 days." I was surprised they would suspend someone for just pushing back. I mean, yeah, you could. Yeah. What was I supposed to do? Just ignore being assaulted? If school is meant to teach such survivor, okay. Blah 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 blah. Principal Lehman informed me that I could finish with the day and not return for the following 2 days. You should be at least grateful for that. Jason was escorted off the school ground entirely. All right, so Principal Lehman stared at me sitting there, helpless and about to break down. Okay, then. See you again in a few days. Dude, you're the principal. What do you mean? You could expel him, man. This is so unrealistic, man. I don't. This is so stupid. All I could focus on feeling in that moment was the tacky ice pack on my face. What about Abby? What about your feelings for Abby? It's not something I like to admit, but the truth is, I cried seconds after Principal Lehman left the room. The type of cry you suppress, but your eyes still get become red. Your body trembles, and painfully hot tears still fall. It was a type of sadness that made a person ache to their core, but you do your best to hold on, not to lose yourself to your emotions like you would so carelessly do as a child. All right, so far there's actually like James is not perfect. James is not perfect. In the beginning, it kind of acts like he is perfect. He's watching everyone, and all he does is badmouth them. When this happens, it makes you realize, like, okay, James is not that perfect at all. We're like 13 pages in, and we only got like 2 pages of Abby. This is more of like stones to James, more like stones to Abigail. Where's Abby? Let me guess, all this bad shit is happening to him, and all he could think about is Abby. Stupid. I sat in the room alone till I could collect myself. Shortly after, I gathered my stuff and proceeded to finish my classes during the day. I also asked a couple of my teachers about any of the work I would miss so I could keep up while I was suspended, but I didn't have the motivation to stop by every single class, leaving the school entirely. That's relatable. As I was about to get off the bus, I looked over to see Abby again in the parking lot with her boyfriend Seth. They were standing by his car. This time they were not showing affection. In fact, she seemed like she wasn't even willing to look at him despite him clearly and aggressively speaking to her. Okay, so now they're gonna break up, and Seth has a car, so Seth is probably a senior, and these two are freshmen. I'm assuming that. Without a second's thought, I shifted away from the bus and began walking over to Abby to see if she was okay. The more I could hear Seth's tone as I approached, the more worried I became. Seth reacted to me like a guard dog in a ghetto fence yard once I realized I was headed towards him. A ghetto fence yard. That's a real sentence. Look. Seth reacted like a guard dog in a ghetto fence. Peanut, how do you feel about this line? I want to know what you think about it. I'm not going to really critique. All right, let me continue this. He puffed out on his shoulders and glared at me in attempts to look intimidating. Abby remained upset. It seemed like she was emotionally unable to look anywhere but the ground. Lol. Like like I just see ghetto fence yard. I'm like, why? Why? Ghetto fence. Why does it have to be a ghetto fence? Now, within a fair speaking range, I tried to sound more optimistic for the sake of Abby's emotional state. Hey, Abby, where were you at art class today? Why don't you just say, where were you at school today? I didn't see you at art class. You could just say that, not art class. Her boyfriend stepped in. I mean, how do you know that's her boyfriend? She could just be a whore. Seth could just be a pimp. Her boyfriend stepped in front of her to block my view. Wait, there you go. Let me just do this. Are you the kid that called her the other night? Yeah, we were. Just ignore him, James, Abby said, mumbled loudly behind Seth. Seth looked back as if an arrow had just been plunged into his chest. Damn, damn, just ignore him. Damn, that line hurt me so much that I got shot with an arrow into the chest. Abby then walked around him, only looking only at me and said, "Will you walk me?" But paused when she saw my face. Abby's facial expression changed quickly to shock as she asked in an alarmed tone, "What happened?" Oh, yeah, I forgot. James got beat up. What happened? Her boyfriend busted out laughing. Oh, you didn't see this idiot get wrecked by Jason? This idiot get wrecked by Jason? He didn't even fight back. I would have had that jock prick choking in his own blood in seconds. But he just took a beating like a. Abby interrupted him. Shut up, Seth. You said this is freak. Seth turned into a scowl. He rapidly stepped towards her, so I blocked his path by stepping in front of him. Seth looked more mortified than I ever seen a person get in such a short notice. Noticing, I could see he had a number of mental and emotional issues, more so than I understand. What the fuck? I'm not gonna. What? Oh my god! This can't be real. This can't be real. Dude, what happened to these good lines before? What happened to these good lines? I welcome the silence and a cold. Like, what happened to the good lines? Oh, this. Like it was becoming a decent good book, and now it's just falling apart. I'm not gonna even critique that. That will take like 40 minutes. Like that like me critiquing this. I'm not gonna even start. No, I'm not gonna start. Seth didn't even try to get past me to get to Abigail. To get past me to Abigail. He let his voice reach within her screaming. You have no respect after what I've done for you. I'm sick of this, Seth. I want nothing to do with you. Her voice cracked as Seth screamed one more time. If you're ending this again, I. And he didn't know what to say, but his eyes, I could see a deep, intense hatred. When I looked in most people's eyes, I saw all kinds of things, but with him there was only pain and anger. Anger and pain. His hands were shaking fiercely, his breathing noticeably. He was losing it. All right. Abby still refused to look at Seth as he threw a trap down. Throw in a trap! Fire! Be with a guy who can't protect himself! Idiot! That's what I assume a tantrum is. Seth got into a car and Abby tightly grabbed my arm. Her eyes remained closed, like she was scared, hiding in a shell. She dumped in the sun. Okay, so why were they fighting? Alright, Seth pedaled the metal. Alright, Seth ran away. I will walk you home. Okay. We had been walking for a while. Every step made us feel like we were slightly further from our problems. So I was in art class and I saw you cut up a bear. Wait. She finally spoke. I saw you cut up your bear. Yeah, Kumar. Maybe it was a foobar idea. That fucked up beyond recognize. She laughed a little. That's not funny. Yeah, I guess we're both kind of weird. I was all game for. So wait a minute. I thought she wasn't in art class. Wasn't she not in art class? I hear running is just as bad as walking in the rain. You get just as wet. Yes, they're talking about the weather. It's like the harder you try to fix some problems, the worse they get. How the what? So it's raining? I hear running is just as bad as walking in the rain, I said. You get just as wet? She replied, yeah, something like that. It's like the harder you try to fix some problems, the worse they get. That, I don't know how the transition is. I don't know how to okay, whatever. I impulsively asked to confirm what I had earlier said. So you're Seth. Yeah. Hopefully soon completely out of my life. My curiosity overtook me. I asked. Hello there, no. Oh man, no. I hope you're not. I hope you're doing well, no. Pina is here. Naomi's here. What is this? This is a book I'm reading. I'm kind of critiquing it, but I've been critiquing it for too long. I'm only on like chapter like 2. What happened? She frowned and said, other than what happened in the parking lot. Okay. Naomi's here, yeah. She sat at her feet. We continued to walk. I noticed her makeup was running. Her makeup was running. Okay. Shortly after she noticed too and began to rush us getting home. Walking faster, she said, I'm sorry, I really don't want you to see me like this. She continued to rush slightly ahead. I stopped walking and said, Hey, slow down. And is still facing in front of me. If this is in the way, I'm very sorry. If you want me to lower this, I could lower it. I could do this if you want. Let me know if this is in the way. Let me know if the OBS like window is bothering you guys. I won't do it next stream, okay? We stood in the rain only for a few seconds before she asked, Do you think makeup really helps anyone? Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. We stood in the rain for only a few seconds before she asked, Do you think makeup really helps anyone? I replied, still looking back at her. I think it helps us forget what we don't want to remember, as it lets us pretend we're a little more perfect than we really are. She laughed sadly and said, That's one way to put it. I smiled and replied, Makeup is just makeup, and skin is just skin. It is what it is. I need a moment. What the fuck? the stupidest shit I've read. Okay, I don't mean to be like a jerk, but that was fucking terrible. That was so bad. That was such a bad line. I get what he's trying to say. You didn't hear what I read? Good. You don't want to. You don't want to. Yo, what happened? Is everything okay? I understand what he's trying to say. For Honor, I'll play For Honor after this. Let me just read this. I have to stream. I gotta continue reading this shit. Abby looked up at the rain for a moment and then down at the ground. When I'm done with this chapter, I'll play some For Honor. I'll end the stream. I'm gonna take a little break, drink some water because my throat hurts. I've been talking for like 2 hours straight. Then she turned around with her rain-soaked face revealing that she was hiding underneath her makeup. Standing before her in the rain, looking at the results of what she had suffered. Let me guess, was she beaten up? Abby was worried about her makeup running for the reason I thought. She was just afraid that, alright, yeah, she had bruises. Do you see them? Okay. Oh my god. Do you see them? Without restraint, I responded with the first thing I came out. I see a beautiful girl who I very much enjoy walking within the rain. Despite her face being covered in fallen raindrops, I could clearly see tears fall from her eyes. Her head fell forward as she began to shake, her tears falling almost in sync with the rain. I walked up to her and put my arms around her and walked with her. You watch when I come back? Alright, the chapter is almost over, but this is so cheesy. As we got to start it, I just I'm just 7 letters away. I'm just said, alright, call me if you need anything. Alright, that's actually pretty cute. That's pretty cute. It went from really terrible to like a cute line. Alright. As we got to our doorsteps, I said, I'm just 7 letters away. It's 7 letters because I'm not gonna even explain. Oh, crap, no. See you tomorrow? I replied. I got suspended for 2 days. She looked offended. She looked offended? She's offended because you were suspended? Push a guy who you got beat up. Classy. I responded, yeah, well, I pushed him back. She clearly not hard enough. That's funny. D- Despite it being so cold and her being soaked, it was the warmest hug I have ever received. That is also a good line. I think it's not as good as the other one, but it's cheesy. It's not bad. I want to say it's good. I'll just say it's bad. It's not bad. I hugged her back, said goodbye, and walked home with a huge smile on my face, bruises and all. I'm going to end the stream there. I am on chapter 3. Holy crap. Okay, this is not a good book. It's bad. It's pretty bad, but I don't think it's the worst book ever. I haven't finished it yet, but wow. I have a lot more to go. The book is 90 pages. I'm barely on like page 15. It'll take like 5 streams for me to end this book. All right, I'm gonna stream something in a bit, okay? Send me a message when you want to play For Honor. I'll play For Honor in like 5 minutes, okay? Let me just get myself ready. I'm gonna get myself like some food. I'm gonna drink some water. I'm gonna freshen up, and I'll stream some For Honor and I'll play with you, okay? All right, bet. Yeah, I'm gonna play for a little bit. Let me just relax. You got Starbucks? Hell yeah. Let me just relax right now. I'm so glad you sent me this when you guys play by note. Yeah, that's cool, Peanut. I'll see you guys later. Thank you for sticking with me. Honestly, I would not be happy if I read this alone. Okay, let me end the stream. Oh, Naomi says hello. No. And she asks, "How are you?" And she says, "Read the story until chapter 7." Why chapter 7? What's the big reveal on chapter 7? Does Davis have sex with James? Oh, by the way, no, there's a person named Davis in the book, and all he does is be nice to James. That's it. That's all he is. Is just be nice to James. He kisses his ass. I'm assuming Davis is gay. Davis is gay in the book. Okay, let me stop talking about the book. Thank you all. And please, for the next stream, please stay with me during this. I don't want to do this by myself. I don't mean to like tell you like please support my stream, but please I don't want to do this by myself. I don't want to read by myself. The only reason why I'm reading this is because Naomi wants me to do it. I've dude, I was screaming. Okay, let me end the stream right now. I hope you had a great time, everyone. I didn't. Thank you all so much for watching. I will see you later.